What's up, Soul Warriors, and welcome to Winning Wednesday Live with me, LC. Man, I'm so honored, as always, grateful to be here in this space with you, to share this amazing energy with all of you. And I want to welcome you to the most amazing soul family on the internet today, right here on Recovery Soul Food. Wherever you're watching from today, welcome and thank you so much for being here. If you like the content here, then please go ahead and make sure that you subscribe to our YouTube channel. Make sure that you like the video, leave a comment, get involved with one another. It's a beautiful, supportive community here. And I mean, again, just the most beautiful souls on earth right here in this soul family. And share the video out. It helps our reach. It helps more people hear what type of soul message that we have today, because I don't like to focus in on just remaining abstinence from substance or habit, whatever the addiction is, but I like to focus more on how to make a difference in your world right now, today. Like, keep the momentum after this video ends going in your life, and to really, really, really make changes to become recovered and not just always be barely outrunning your habits or, your substances or whatever your coping mechanism was. And if you're in new recovery, this is a beautiful place to be, because my whole purpose in this life is to reduce the suffering of the recovery process. So if you're in new recovery, you are in an amazing place to help yourself not suffer through years and years and years and then get it, right? So that's what I did. And that's why I'm here doing this. So I'm so grateful to be here with you. You guys go ahead and get the video shared out if that's what you want to do. And if not, let's do this thing together. Today, we're going to talk about how to change our energy, how to win this day by choice. Now, I'm sharing this time with you because normally I get up and I do my own morning routine. And for the last few days, I've been in like a really heavy energy. I have a good idea of a lot of what it is, but just knowing what it is isn't always, the way to fix it, so to speak. But it makes for a better day when I can motivate myself, bring myself, up above a level of energy that's over a 5. Some days we can't get all the way to 10, and that's okay. I mean, if we can land around a good 6, 7, even an 8, we're still doing amazing, because we used to wake up at -7. Right? And would just stay there at that -7 or keep going below. So I didn't do my morning routine because I like to show up sometimes in my mess. I like to show up and let's move this day forward together, because sometimes it's a lot more impactful and inspiring if we do these processes together. So that's what we're going to share today. We're going to win this day by choice. And of course, if you're ready, you know that I'm ready. So let's get to it. Welcome to Winning Wednesday Live with me, LC, and all of you amazing and beautiful, beautiful human beings. Hey, before we get started, I want to remind you to head over to Breakthrough Hypnotherapy with my good friend and just amazing human on earth, Pamela Topjian, and mention Recovery Soul Food because she's going to give you a free full session. So that's true. You're going to get not only the consultation and the intro session, but then you're going to get a full free session just for mentioning Recovery Soul Food. So don't forget to go over and visit Pamela Topjian. It's hypnobreakthrough.com, or you can find her at Breakthrough Hypnotherapy right here on Facebook. I had the ticker there, but I have the website wrong. That's why I took it down. So really do that because it's made a big difference in my life. I've always been a believer in hypnotherapy simply because I learned, I would say about 3 years into my recovery, I really learned about the power of working not only in our conscious behaviors and in our cognitive stuff and creating new neural pathways, but I also realized how major and important getting down deep under that subconscious where those automatic programs that we've built since we got here on earth and up through them, 7, 8 years old. So many of our default programming have been built during those times. And of course, we don't really remember that because we were a sponge in that time. And a lot of times we try at things and we know the right things to do, but we can't seem to get ourselves to do them. And that is where your subconscious mind and belief system really comes into play. It's because it's not that you're not doing something right, and it's not that you're not doing enough. That was always my default. This isn't working, so I must not be doing enough, but yet I don't know what else to do. So I just start calling myself lazy or unsuccessful, or it's just not meant for me. So that's where knowing how important that inner mind, that inner self, that subconscious is, because again, there are programs in there that are guiding your life that you don't even understand or realize. So, I use hypnotherapy. I use subliminal affirmations. Of course, I'm very selective with those things because, I'm out to become the best possible version of me. So a lot of times I will record my own affirmations and stuff and play them in the background of my day. And the thing about the subconscious, and I'm going to get off this real quick, is you don't want to blast something through your ears, because when you blast it, your subconscious will reject it. You want to play it really low to where it's maybe just audible, so that, that's how it really gets in. Because if your conscious mind is very aware of it, then it takes over. And your subconscious, really just kind of goes on its programming. And, that's why affirmations are so hard in the beginning, because your subconscious will reject something it doesn't believe. But the way it comes to believe something is by what you tell it over and over and over and over again. So if you've just started doing affirmations, if you've just started doing this stuff and you think, oh, these aren't working, I got to say, keep at it, man. Keep going, because that program that you have now, that default, it didn't get in there by just one, it didn't get in there by just one shot. You know what I'm saying? Like, you didn't call yourself an idiot once and now you believe it. You called yourself that name over and over. Someone else called you that name till you picked up calling you that name. And then it just compounds over and over and over, on top of each other, until it just marinates down and this becomes the way you operate. And it also shows up as evidence in your life. Often we will prepare our minds for the worst case scenario. And then when the worst case scenario shows up, we say, see, I told you. But what we don't understand is that when we're preparing for that worst case scenario, we're actually calling that thing directly to us. We are calling that scenario into our reality. And understanding these things is what really opened my heart, mind, and program of success up to me. Once I accepted and took full responsibility that I am absolutely a co-creator in my own reality, that it was my perceptions, it was the way I was thinking about things, it was how I saw the world, how I saw myself, how I saw my life, how I saw my recovery, how I saw my family, that was producing all of this evidence in my world. I had to take responsibility for that and then slowly but surely begin to change those things. And it's simple things often that you do on your own that actually start to change everything outside of you. And that's kind of what I'm here with you this morning to talk about, is that, we are in like this heavy energy, our moon cycles and all of that stuff. And I don't like to say all that stuff and people go, oh no, click off. This is woo woo crap. It's not crap, right? So if your body is 70% water, and we know this to be fact, and we know that the moon and the cycles and all of that stuff really affect and cause the tides to come in and out. Our oceans are, all the tides are run, by these cycles. Then why wouldn't you, at 70% water, be affected as well? So sometimes understand that when you're just kind of down or drudging through a lot of things and you can't really put your finger on stuff, like you can't identify something in your life or your circumstances that really has you feeling that way, then understand that it's all energy, that life is vibration, and that a lot of times when we are shifting through different earth cycles and moon cycles and phases, that they affect us as well. And that's, I wanted to, because that's where I've been for the past few days. Oh my gosh. So I just caught Livy's, I just read a comment, and I was catching a conversation there with Livy and Alicia. And Livy, I am so sorry to hear about your family troubles. And there's so much that we could talk about on that level, but I'm sure I don't have the whole conversation, so we won't we won't do that here, but we will do that. But even when we are having an experience, some intense, circumstantial happenings in our lives that have the ability to just make our energy really, really, really heavy, it can really start a momentous snowball effect where we can wake up in that energy, and then when we can go down our path in that energy, then it can just set up a day where we just kind of keep rolling in that place. And one of the first things that I really want to say about that and how you're feeling. Hey, what's up, Moments of Clarity with Tiffany? What's up, Alicia Lee, Livy, Sweet Livy? What's up, Pamela Marie Topjian? Let me say the good mornings this morning real quick before we get into this. Okay, mighty. What's up, Joe Potosi? My man. When the Dust Settled, available on Amazon. Go get it. Go get it. Amazing book of an overcomer, that Joe Potosi. I love that kid. So the first thing that I want to say about where we're feeling right now is, and wherever you are, is the first thing you got to know is it's okay. It's okay not to be at a 10 all the time. It is absolutely okay to feel the emotions that are part of your human existence, and to be in those and remind yourself, especially if you are in new recovery, And I say to you, if you're in new recovery and you're going through some really intense emotions, like our good friend Libby, you're going through some really intense things, this is where you definitely want to lean in on your support network. And please don't ever say you don't have a support network, because it doesn't have to be people right, in your physical existence. There are so many networks that are being built. It's a great gift of this pandemic that we have absolutely learned how to build outside of our physical existence. And there's so much telehealth and telecounseling and support groups. Be very mindful of where you get into. Make sure that you check these groups over well. Don't just grab an invite because somebody that you know or somebody you trust sends you that invite. Look that over, because this is your health, your mental health, your physical health, and your recovery. And you want to make sure that you are in a safe space of people that are going in the direction you want to go through, that are growing like you, that are, have something that you can feel that loving energy in the midst of. Don't just, again, and I tell you that for me too. If I invite you to something, don't just accept it because I did it and you trust me. Look it over for yourself, because we don't all vibe exactly the same, and what you need may not be the same thing I need. But this is a great time to reach out and lean on that support network. If you're having these really big life circumstances happening in your life, lean on that support network. But in those moments when you are by yourself, you must remind yourself that it is okay for me to be here. I'm not doing anything wrong if I'm not at a 10. I'm not failing in my recovery or my motivation if I'm not at a 10. And that I can trust that in this situation, whatever it is, in this moment, there is something that is happening for me, that everything is working out for my greatest good, regardless of how it feels in this moment. We have to live in that place of trust that we are divinely guided, and that, whatever you decide to call that, whether you don't call it anything, the Tao that can be named is not even big enough. We use names like God and universe, but to me, that's not even big enough for what it is that I know as divinity. So, but learning to trust and know that your life is always working out for you, and really allowing that to be your mantra in whatever situation you're in. Tell yourself that, because it is true. Because what you seek, you will find. And if you are seeking to be constantly growing through life versus just going through it, then you must know that the sun comes up every day. The sun always outshines the darkness. And just in everything, there is the law. The sun goes down, the sun comes up. The sun goes down, the sun comes up. You may be in this situation now, but it will not last forever. And sometimes the lies of depression want to come in and tell you that this is it. What's up, Sam? That the lies of depression and anxiety want to tell you that this is it, that you're going to feel this bad forever. And it's up to you to stand up where you are and say, that is not the truth. The law of polarity is in full effect. I may feel this way now, but I will not feel this way forever. I'm going to live here knowing that I'm safe, because you don't have to use just because you feel bad. And you need to remind yourself of that as well, because we're not trying to live a life that has no feelings. If we live a life where we never experience emotions, then we're not living a true human spiritual experience. We have to go through those emotions in order for us to continuously evolve into that next and better version of ourselves, which grows with us. There's not a destination that says, okay, Lona, this is your best, and here you are. And now you can live here at this 10 every single day because you've mastered life. Well, that's not really the case. Because just as we are human, imagine that you want something really, really bad, and you want it so bad, and you've wanted it for such a long time, and then you get it. What happens is, as soon as the new wears off of that, there's something else you want. And so you start that whole cycle over again. And that's not because you're greedy, and that's not because there's something wrong with you or you're ungrateful. It's because that's how you're made. We are made to constantly be evolving. That's why, I was 7 years old once, but I'm not still 7. I don't still have a 7-year-old body. I don't still have a 7-year-old mind, but I was 7 once. That's how we are constantly made, to grow and evolve, to change. And so remove that thing, that expectation in your life that you're going to get to a certain point and you're never going to have to do anything else. Embrace the growth. Embrace that where you are today is leading you to that constant and ever evolution into your beautiful self. It is helping you find your magic. And go and look back. Be aware to look at your situation, and then look at some of the prayers and the asks that you've put out there. A lot of times what's really happening right now in this moment is the answer to the prayers that you've prayed, the answers to the questions that you've put out, and it's taking you there. And that's what I really try to embrace in my life when I'm feeling that heavy energy, when I just can't get myself at that level that I like to be at. I just have to remember and remind myself, especially when I go look in the mirror, because when I got something really important to say to myself, I go back to the mirror and say it to myself. And I remind myself, you are in the process of becoming. This is part of the process of becoming. You are embracing your magic. You are finding your magic, Luna. And this is how we do it. This is how spirit speaks to us. This is how divinity speaks to us. We ask for things, and we would love them to be beamed down, in the form of the car I want, or the money that I think I need, or whatever. But it doesn't happen. The majority of time, what it is that we want that are wrapped up in things actually are truly wrapped around an emotion. So when we think that we need more money, it's because we want a feeling. It's because of the feeling that having that money or that thing or being in that situation produces. And we can embrace that now. In fact, it's the only way to get to the place that we want to go, because we have it already. We don't need someone else to come in from outside and rescue us by giving us this thing we think we lack. We actually have all that we need. We possess it on the inside of us. Sometimes we're just too afraid to trust ourselves enough to know that it is within us. I, again, am reading a book that I've read many times, The 4 Agreements, and this is the 4 Agreements companion book. It's an amazing book. It really, really talks a lot about where we are and how we got here, and how to move through. And in this book, I just want to read you, and I'm going to close out with talking about this. We're talking about, in this one, starts with domestication, kind of basically how we got here and how a lot of our programs are programmed into us very young, how we do our best. We live a life of trying to please others by living up to their expectations of us, our parents, our family, society, social media. In fact, will put up this image and we will try to think that that's what success is, and we try to live up to that. Let's see. I'll just start here randomly. You begin to search for yourself outside of you because you no longer trust who you are. You search for what you believe you don't have: justice, beauty, happiness, and love, when all of these were always inside of you. Can you see the beginning of all the suffering and drama in your life? You need a mirror in the world to see yourself, but there isn't a clear mirror to tell you what you are. So you agree with the image others create for you, but you are not that image. Of course, you modify the image and you change it all the time, but where is the real you? It gets lost because there isn't a good mirror to reflect what you really are. After years and years of trying to please other people's images of what you should be, after attempting different kinds of rebellion and trying to find who you really are, you finally give up and accept other people's images of what you are. Addict, broken, abused, victim. But there is something inside you that longs to be free. It is always telling you, this is not who I really am. This is not what I really want. You are not free to be who you really are because you are trapped by images of what you think you should be. Your whole point of view of your whole reality is based on what you believe you are. But what you believe about yourself is just a concept. It is knowledge, but knowledge does not mean it is truth. Knowledge only means it's what you know. And what do we know about concepts? All concepts can be changed. And in these times, when maybe we're feeling this heavy energy, embrace this time as this is you and your magic, your brilliance, your humanity, your diamond in the rough, emerging from within you. Don't be afraid to feel. You are stronger than you give yourself credit for. When we get into the place of fear, that if we feel these emotions that we are going to use, we get trapped in that in-between fear, and eventually the fear will win out. Always tell yourself and tell that fear. Don't be afraid to talk to that fear. Don't be afraid to talk to depression. Don't be afraid to talk to those emotions. Talk especially to fear and remind fear that I realize you're just trying to look out for me and keep me safe or keep me comfortable in my comfort zone. But I am free to always choose a different thought. I may choose a different energy at all time and space. That freedom that you look for, you already are. So exercise your freedom, especially when it comes to your inner peace, your inner thought processes, and that fear that tries to hold you captive. You are much bigger than these images that you've created for yourself. One of the hardest images of my own self for me to break is that I was an incorrigible addict, that I would never, ever break that. But I know today that that image is completely broken and shattered away. I feel so much more of who I truly am in this moment, sitting here with you all right now, than I ever have in my entire life. And the way that I got here, and the way that I stay here, and the way that I'll keep going is the same ways and processes that I share with you. So know that you're powerful and that this is your day and this is your life, and that you always have the freedom to choose a different thought. It's okay to feel. You don't have to be afraid to feel. And just embrace you and the diamond and the shine that is emerging from you. You are so outstandingly amazing. And when I tell you that recovery will save and change the world, I am absolutely giving you my true belief system. You have the power to be awakened. Being at rock bottom and below opens you up to that full surrender that starts your rebuilding process from the very foundation. And now build the best version of you possible and let it emerge from you. All right. I love you all so much. And I can't wait to share Saturday night's broadcast with you. I'm going to have a new TikTok friend of mine on. His name is William Forcion. He's at Billosophy on TikTok. He is an amazing soul. I can't wait to hear his story of rebuilding and emerging and awakening and opening. And he's just got the most soothing voice you've ever heard in your life. If you happen to be on TikTok, go over and check him out. He's Philosophy 101 is his name. It's at whatever, however. Also, if you're on TikTok, then check out Recovery Soul Food. We're there as well. And, until Saturday, I love you guys so much. I want you to have the most amazing, most winning Wednesday of your entire life because you choose to and you are that powerful. And don't forget, take Pamela up on her offer of a free hypnotherapy session. Catch her at hypnobreakthrough.com or Breakthrough Hypnotherapy right here on Facebook. And tell her Recovery Soul Food sent you. Until Saturday, I love you. Y'all have an amazing day and rest of your week. Bye, everybody.